Oh yeah, you know what? Yeah, let's talk about the Mage Punk Gauntlet.
Yeah, I mean, I hear what you're saying, and I think you're right to an extent.
Not a lot. They're both big butts. So
Good enough.
I'll call for it. Actually, no.
Call.
Ben's good. I'm not going to call for it last time. So that's something else.
3, 2, 1.
I'm probably going to edit that out. No, I'm not. Shut up, yo. Welcome back to another epi of the Eastin and Feastin podcast. In person this time. Kind of a wacky episode, but it might be in person for the foreseeable future. Potentially. If this comes out well. Let's send it over to Ben first. Mr. Bees. Mr. Beast.
Not this week. Not Mr. Beast this week. Yeah, recovering from a tough loss, frustrating season again. That's about all I got. Someone else.
Yeah. Thanks for that glorious intro, Ben.
Going on to Chris. Thanks for waiting.
I'm, as you can see, I'm in all black today for the fantasy playoffs have ended. It's not fantasy playoffs. The NHL playoffs. The NHL playoffs have ended. At least my interest in
My
the
foot's
Habs.
just right in the camera.
Because the Penguins got knocked out. We'll get into it. Yeah. So we're in mourning. Nick.
I'm doing fine. I was sad for about 20 minutes, and I thought that has been the last 4 years. So why is it any different?
You also had zero hopes for the Caps going in,
Yeah.
so that probably helped you.
6 games was okay.
And I've been having a wonderful time watching playoff hockey.
Well, we can talk about the Islanders too.
Oh yeah, we'll
Yeah.
talk about that.
Briefly
First
about
and
it.
foremost, I would like to say, whoever said Calgary in 4 and said that the Battle Stars stink and are not going to put up any sort of a fight.
Can I?
You had Calgary
Can I
in
have a
4.
rebuttal?
By all means.
I think if Ottinger's not in net for that series, it's probably 5 games.
Oh, I think it's 4 games. Wow.
Yeah, right.
But still, I was watching the game last night. They got that shot.
I also,
50.
I had Ottinger in
He's
fantasy
good.
and followed
He
him a
is.
bit this season, and he was okay. He wasn't the definite starter of that team till the end of the year, and I didn't expect him to be dropping a 950 save percentage.
Yeah, the Ilias are open to West. That's what I've been saying.
He-
Anyway.
He went off.
All right, so yeah, just a quick overview of what we got today. Obviously, we're going to go over round 1 because it ended last night. So we'll review those matchups. We're going to take a bit of a deeper dive into the 3 matchups that we actually cared about. All in the East, of course, as we are the Eastin and Feastin podcast.
He says it every episode.
And
Oh, we start with the East.
We are the East.
Let me start with the West.
we'll talk about.
So anyway, Colorado Nashville.
We'll talk about Barry Trotz getting fired.
And Lane Lambert getting hired as a head coach.
Yeah, and then the recent development of the new coach already. And then we've got something about a Seth Jones, Zach Werenski debate.
I guess.
Do you have them pulled up on your phone? Right?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
And then
We have Washington Capitals.
Why do you say it like that?
You just wrote the Washington
That's
Capitals.
because I can't put any more.
And then let's go back to the beginning.
then we're going to get into a fundamental flaw in the NHL, which is going to get
So the Penguins Rangers.
Which is-
me a little.
Which is got to be the sticky stuff changing the RPMs. Oh, wait, that's baseball.
Whatever that means.
There's a bees discussion coming too.
All right, so what do we want to jump
Harry
into
Pace
first?
is bees.
I'd say we
I can
talk about
The Washington Capitals.
this fundamental flaw in the NHL that you speak of, and then we'll transition into your series. Because that's obviously what
Into
it's
each of our series.
And then we will transition it to the Washington Capitals.
All right, so
Before we say anything, we all know the league is based for the Rangers.
No,
Now get it.
This is not a Ranger podcast.
all right, so hold on. I need
Unless you're the
a little
Texas
bit of water.
Rangers.
Okay.
All right, so
I got baseball in the mind.
issue with the NHL is that it encourages the injuring of players. The NHL wants players to get hurt, they want careers to be shortened, and it is utterly ridiculous, to quote Jack Edwards, for a league that makes their money off of these people. They use them, and they shatter their careers and their bodies for their own benefit.
So, evidence?
All right, yeah. So I'll just jump right in with if none of you have anything to say. So
I'm
I guess
just-
everyone
I'm
agrees.
confused.
I'm just waiting.
No.
I'm just waiting.
I kinda
All
wanna-
you said was honey is the best food to ever eat in the world, and I'm not going to tell you why. So tell us why.
Thanking me. All right. Well, yeah. So the obviously I was watching the Penguins Rangers series, which was determined mostly by two things, and they weren't the Penguins or the Rangers. They were determined by the refs, and they were determined by injuries. Obviously, the Penguins already had one injury in Tristan Jarry, which was major, so he missed the first 6 games. But the injuries to Raquel, Crosby, Brian Dumoulin, Brian Boyle,
Pascal Dupuis.
no, the DeSmith injury was non-contact.
That was weird. He just like moved the wrong way and like tore his core muscle, right?
Yeah, something like that. I don't know.
It's like we got out of bed.
but
But my problem with the NHL is that they don't call the rule book. The rule book is completely unnecessary because there's no rules in playoffs for some reason. It's whatever the refs want to decide to call that day, and it's stupid because you don't know. Oh, am I just going to get elbowed in the head today and get concussed and shatter the rest of my career because the refs feel like letting that go today? Or like, oh, maybe I'll get a stick in the mouth because the refs are going to let that go. So, guys, especially certain goons, will keep pushing and say, okay, well, I'm going to run this guy in the first. If that goes, next time I'm going to jump into his head. And then if that goes, next time I'm going to, I don't know, do something else. Something
Take my
worse.
skate off and slice his neck.
Yeah, pull a Happy Gilmore. It progresses, and you see, oh, my teammate just got away with slew-legging someone. I'm going to slew-leg someone now because if we take that guy out, we're going to win this series because he's the best player on the ice.
So, like, with that point, they lost Game 7 for calling the rule book too closely.
False.
Can I?
Because,
False.
no, this is my point. Because when Lafreniere took off Pedersen's helmet,
Which is a penalty.
they said there was a Rule 9.2, if he's in the vicinity of the helmet, and like something about the strap still being on, he can put the helmet back on. Which would be calling the rule book too close.
The refs didn't say that, though. That was some New York rules analyst, like boneless Gene Steratore, NHL bum guy. That was some dude who was based for the Rangers.
New York
That's a rules analyst. That's
It was
not,
a rules
that's not the
analyst.
refs. They
That
never
was-
actually looked at that
The
play.
NHL refs don't have to explain themselves like NFL refs do. NFL refs have post-game pressers, and they have to say, oh yeah, we missed this call. The NHL refs collect their check, they go cash it, and then they go out to some strip club in Montreal.
And then they have to go explain to Wes why they're so
So
bad.
can I
Vegas.
respond to some of that? And I think I'm kind of like 50-50 on this because I think I agree with part of your points, but part of it I just.
So
I
you
think-
agree with what he's saying.
This is my time
and
to
he's
talk.
right to an
He's
extent.
right to an extent.
This is my point.
Okay.
I will recognize in this playoff season, especially, I think a lot more like calls have been made that are like the calls you have to make, like the chucking it out of the ice or the that's not a good example, but the double minor high sticks.
Mm.
I've seen more of those in the playoffs than I've seen like the whole season. Every game that I watched, I saw like 4 or 5 double minor high sticking penalties that sometimes go uncalled in the regular season or uncalled in seasons past, but now in the postseason they're getting called. Now,
Because those are obvious penalties.
because they're obvious penalties or things like that that are like that people. But I've also seen a lot more scrum penalties getting called, or for sometimes, and then but there's not 100% uniformity across the board, especially depending on the series. Like the Bruins series,
Well,
the
that's
first
the
couple
referee.
games, I agree, but at the same time, the reffing is supposed to be unanimous. It's supposed to be.
In a perfect world, yeah.
It's never
Yes,
gonna be.
I know. I recognize that, but for the Bruins
Certainly
series,
not with
first-
Gary flexing his awesome power.
Gary Flexman.
Yeah, Gary Flexman.
I also look at like the flow
Teaching
of,
everyone who Big Daddy is.
I look at the flow of the game too. Like for certain games, the refs are going to put their whistles away. Especially, I think the game last night for Pittsburgh, they put their whistles away a bit, which I personally like more than like being on the power play or the PK the entire game, because that's not as fun to watch if your team's on the PK the entire time. Believe me, as a Bruins fan,
So
they're on
stay out of the
PK
box.
first.
Yes, don't commit penalties.
I know,
if you don't want to
but-
kill penalties.
But what I'm saying is that's not how hockey works. You can't just like not make penalties, especially in 5-on-5 hockey, when a team's trying to keep the.
Do I have to do this? Do I have to get my elbow up in a hit? Do I have to do that?
No, okay. I don't think you.
Brief intermission.
Yeah, brief intermission. Welcome back.
Pause.
It paused?
Welcome back after that brief intermission.
There we go.
Somebody has their computer on sleep after like probably 30 minutes.
Even
How
though
do
even though it's plugged in.
10.
You just go into your settings, but it's fine. Don't do it now, please.
Mid-recording.
We'll just do it again. We'll just do it after this thing turns off again.
Every time just bump the mouse.
Where are we talking about?
I was talking about the flow of the game.
Yeah,
So,
like
the
you were
flow
saying
of the
that it is impossible to not elbow somebody. You have to elbow
I'm not
someone
saying
in
that.
that.
I'm not saying.
Just say, I get what you're saying.
I'm saying.
And I think you're
I'm saying like
but
I'd rather have refs know when to call something and when not to. Like if a team's been penalized like 6 times already in a game, and it's something light or it's not that obvious, like a non-obvious call, like we were just talking about, happens at like a point where they have a chance to like I don't know get back in the game or like actually play hockey. That's when something like that goes away, even if it's like a 50-50 call or even less than that for a ref. Like you can't. There's calls. A lot of calls in the NHL aren't black and white, and I think refs need have to look at that way and know how does this impact the game if I call this right now? Like at the end of the Penguins game,
But they don't think
in
about
OT,
that. It's
No, it's not
It's
that.
a split-second decision usually.
Yeah, and sometimes refs call something. So like when the ref right next to a play is like, okay, I'm not calling that. That's not enough. But then the ref on the other side of the ice is like, thank you very much. That's a penalty. So it's.
well, eagle eyes ref on the other side.
I think
Crabs.
it's been bad in certain
Copyright
games,
SpongeBob.
but it's been okay. The Penguins series, we can get to it now if you want, but I have
Yeah.
my own opinions on that.
I was thinking
So
we
we
can
can start with Adam's spread.
I was thinking we could start with maybe like Kings Edmonton.
Kings Edmonton. No, yeah.
No, yeah.
All right, so everyone's like, oh, the Penguins Rangers was the least penalized series. Now,
Is that true?
I believe it was, and I don't think it was close.
The
But
Rangers are like no penalty.
the Penguins are a disciplined team. We also don't hit, so
Minus-
we don't get the roughings, the chargings, the elbowing, or the boarding penalties.
Minus a
Just the
thing.
cross-check to the
interference.
teeth sometimes.
Discipline minus Malkin, I'd say. But he didn't.
Yes.
He was actually good this year.
But we were the
tank.
I think
Tank
we were the
was a score.
second least penalized team in the whole regular season. That's not a coincidence. That's not the refs being like, oh, they have Crosby, so we can't call penalties on him. That's not how the NHL works. A little bit, but that's not how it works. You don't accidentally become the least penalized teams or one of the 2 least penalized teams. That is
Who was the
that
number
is
one?
coaching. I think it was Dallas.
Interesting.
That's
I feel
what
like
I
they
saw.
would be higher.
That's what I saw on
Can't
Twitter.
score, so.
That's what I saw on Twitter, anyways.
That's what they had.
All they do is pass around and shoot.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think they'd have players who would skunk. That's
Like Jamie Benn.
They've got.
I hate that
Klingberg
guy.
gets into it. He's
Jamie,
kind
if
of
you're
a
watching this,
firecracker.
I hate you.
Take that.
Sorry. And Radulov.
Whoa!
He blows.
Let's simmer
He
down.
blows.
Let's simmer.
Farm animal.
we can't start roasting that.
We're gonna get to the start.
We're not.
So it's good coaching from Mike Sullivan, and it's good leadership from. Do you mind? It's good leadership from the players and the coaching. So I find it baffling when Rangers fans are like, well, you guys don't get penalties, so that means we shouldn't get penalties either. There's a reason that you're penalized a lot.
You have Ryan Reeves.
You have Ryan Reeves. You have Jacob Trouba.
Oh.
You have guys that
True.
do.
You have Gerard Gallant.
And Ryan Lindgren. Like you have
Ryan
guys
Gauthier.
that intentionally hit people up
Run
high
dry.
and run people. And Ryan Reeves is too scary. That's why no one fights our team. Cool, good for you. You still take a ton of penalties because you have a bunch of dirtbags on your team.
I just realized they have a lot of Ryans on the team. Like
Yeah, softest player in the league, Ryan Strome.
Reeves, Brian Strome.
Take it to the bank.
Any team that
Brian
turns
Lindgren,
Artemi
Brian
Panarin
Reeves.
into a guy that hits
and doesn't shoot.
That is a coach saying scum players.
He shoots.
Hits.
I know. Nick said intentionally shoot.
He wasn't shooting except once.
When Artemi Panarin
So you're saying towards
tries
is
to
a good
run
coach.
someone into the boards, he that is coming directly from the coach because that's not.
So
That's
Torch
not
is a good coach.
Now I hear
The
you.
Penguins lost to the refs.
Say it.
He's like
Say
trying
it.
so hard not to
The
say it.
refs. I hear you. Go ahead.
I hear what you're saying.
They blew a 3-1 lead.
Yes, it's
In-
very hard.
in
So
the series and in 2 games.
imagine killing a penalty. Okay, you're down a guy, so you're playing 5-on-4.
Okay.
Imagine
Do I have Luke Glendening?
no. Imagine playing 9-on-5
return.
when it's supposed to be even. You're playing 9-on-5 because there's 4 guys in black and white pinstripes that are on the other team, and that call is coming from Gary Bettman, Gary Flexman.
Well, I think it's a goal.
You
I
think
couldn't
they,
know that.
you think they threw 3 games in a row for the Rangers?
Did you watch the games?
I watched a lot.
I think they sold Game 7 for the Rangers.
Game
I don't know-
Game
7.
7.
I don't know about
Game
5 and
7
6.
at the end.
There are
5 and 6. You're up 3-1, dude.
So how do you? Okay, well, why do they not penalize Trouba for the Crosby hit?
The Crosby hit.
In Game 5?
Probably
Because
his head
Crosby
was
goes down. Okay,
Did
Crosby
they
goes
penalize
down.
McAvoy for that hit on Otto?
No, that wasn't.
He
the
got
one we
fined.
Did he?
did. No, he did not.
You
He
told me
got fined. He got fined
For
5K.
something else. Nope, not for that. He got,
Okay, well-
he got 5K for like.
There's a big difference in those hits.
Not for the offense.
There's a
The
massive
McAvoy
difference
one
in
was
those
way
hits.
worse.
The Trouba one, his elbow is up here,
McAvoy didn't jump into that hit either. I knew he wasn't sitting.
Yeah, but he barely touched him.
but McAvoy's down here like this.
I know, but he barely touched him. If I skate by you going 5 miles per hour and elbow you, you're not gonna blink an eye.
He
If
was
I'm
not going
going
5 miles
full
an hour.
bore across
He,
the
like,
ice and
stood-
collide with you on the
He
legs.
stood Crosby
And then
up,
on-
is what it seemed like.
He
And
did
then
not
shook
stand him up. He put his elbow into his skull.
Crosby was on his knees.
Crosby was not on
He
his
sta-
knees.
He was.
You guys are seeing a
He
different shot
stabbed-
than I'm seeing.
With his stick, whether it's intentional or not. Intent doesn't have to be there for a penalty or a fine or a suspension.
Agreed.
You don't have to intent, like, whether he's doing it. So he act like, I don't know if this is on purpose. He gets his stick into Crosby's skates. That makes Crosby start to fall forward. He goes to hit him. He then puts the elbow up into Crosby's head. If you keep your elbow down, that's a fine hit. And he probably barely hits him. That's why he puts the elbow up, to stay in the way and to try and demolish him.
So the thing with that I have to say is when you're trying to hit somebody, ever, you're never keeping your elbows completely down, ever. You're never going into a hit and hitting like this. You always have your stick in your hands and you're going like this.
You're trying not
100% of the
to.
time.
Because
Like,
you
but it's
lead
not
with the
even
shoulder
the
where you
elbow.
come up with the
Right,
elbow.
you lead with the shoulder, but your elbow's out.
Yes.
And if Crosby's lower than him, likely it's going to hit him in the head with the elbow.
She
anyway.
was. Crosby was down here, and like.
But there's a difference. This is not what it looked like in the picture. It's like this. His elbow's way up.
Yeah, I'm agreeing. I think it should have been like maybe a minor or major for elbowing, but again, that call goes uncalled. It goes uncalled. Like, so what?
That's my
And
problem.
it's also Sidney Crosby, and the team has to look at him and say, okay, we need to make sure that this guy, first of all, a legend on their team and the league for a really long time, and someone with serious concussion history issues, they need to take him out and look at him.
And he did.
Like, yes,
He
I
missed
know.
the rest of the game. We lost our best player, down a forward, the guy who was literally carrying us. He had the most points in the playoffs. He gets scummed. He's out. How do you expect the team to then just be like, oh, well, it doesn't faze us. We can go back and
Teams
play
should be more
exactly
than
the way
one
we
player.
are.
Team should be more than one
The
player.
team is more than one player. But, dude, you
But
know the Penguins. Everything runs through Crosby. His line runs through him.
Yeah, but at the
What do
same
you
time,
going to do without without Bergeron?
Get another center. But I don't know.
You can't do that in the middle of the game.
But the Bruins don't have 2 number 1 centers.
I'm making that the new
Pittsburgh
show.
does.
Oh, get another center.
Pittsburgh has 2 number 1 centers,
leave
dude,
both
and he
play.
didn't show up.
What
Like,
do you do without Bergeron?
That's not true. Gino scored.
I know, but Gino, he historically, when Crosby is out, he comes up and shows up to play and does better when Crosby's not there.
And actually, when both of them were out, what was it, last year or 2 years
Everyone
ago?
this
year.
year.
Was it this
Oh,
year?
in the playoffs.
No, during the regular season.
That was the beginning of this year.
They were still playing well.
They played pretty good.
Rodriguez went lights out. People elevate their game.
Yes.
And I thought Gensel was great this
Dancing
series,
behind
but like, I don't know. It's There's a lot of question marks.
We're ignoring the fact that Louis Dominique was in there.
Yeah.
Louis Dominique.
Isn't it Domingue?
Domingue. I don't know why I'm saying Dominique. Domingue.
He says
Louis
Dominique.
Domingue. Yes, he's got me tainted.
What?
Louis Domingue.
I've only heard you say it like that. Ever.
Louis Dominique.
Yeah, that's because I already talked about the guy.
Yeah, there you go.
Louis Domingue was
an NHL goalie.
a perennial backup, current bum. Dude okay, first of all, his glove's on the wrong side, and he makes blocker saves with two hands. Like, he makes blocker saves with two hands.
He played fine, I thought.
No, he did not.
In game 5 and 6,
5 and 6, he was terrible.
I kind of wish they had like
Game 6
bit the bullet and see if they could
popped
have
over his
gotten.
head and
Do you think they
trickled.
Oh, I
could?
did see
Do you
that.
think if they rushed Jari back like a game earlier, this series is over?
Like Rask
Or
last
they have
year.
a better shot? No, not like Tuukka. He's playing with a broken foot and was able to make it through a game. Tuukka could not move. He couldn't like drop them in the butterfly. It was that bad.
If Crosby,
He
Thanks,
did drop
thanks,
down
Cassidy.
the butt.
if Crosby and Jari came back for
Devastating.
Game 6 at home, yes, they would have won. If Jari was healthy for the whole series, that is a 5-game series.
Yeah.
If they have Fleury, they win.
No, Fleury's the choker in the playoffs.
No, Fleury's count.
Not anymore.
He has 3 cups.
How many?
Choke
Just lost
in
the
the
Blues in
playoffs.
7.
How?
Or 6.
Okay. How many? When was the last time you got through round 1?
2018
Actually,
when
no,
he was
with-
in the
with
Stanley
Vegas.
Cup
With
with last
Vegas.
year
with Vegas.
and last year with Vegas in the
Okay,
Western
right.
Conference Final.
Okay, yeah. But he hasn't. He hasn't done anything in the playoffs since like his last cup 5-6 years ago, right?
Since, done anything in the
This is
playoffs
a-
would be
this
last
is
year in
not
the
a-
Western Conference.
This is an
He went to the Stanley Cup Final in 2018.
You know what I mean.
I do know.
It doesn't mean anything in the playoffs unless you win.
So he had
One of those years
he's
he
a
carried the
bum because he hasn't won the
Penguins.
cup
He
since
carried the
No, I'm
Penguins.
saying
through the
Chris
Western
literally said it
Conference
himself like 2 or 3 weeks ago. He said,
Yes, I did.
Fleury is a choker in the playoffs.
No.
You called him a choker.
I said he is scary. He can be scary good. He can be scary bad.
He carried the Penguins one of those years in
Yes.
net to the Western Conference Final. Then they're like, all right, put in Murray. Which
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
All right.
You just
Do you
replaced him.
guys want to transition to?
As long as everyone can admit that the Rangers were bailed by the refs.
in Game 7. I will
I-
say.
And
can say that.
Louis Domingue lost the
You
other
don't want to say
3 games.
Dominique. You felt it.
I
Rangers
agree.
fans-
Game 7.
Any
Yeah.
Rangers fans watching this, you can.
All 2 of you.
Yeah, you can.
As Ben says, sniff one.
Sniff.
Okay, Ben did not come up with that.
That
I
is
came up with that. I came up with that.
That's my thing.
You know, come up with it.
You said that.
Go back to the Kevin Fiala rant on episode 2, I think it was.
I said it.
Come on, Fiala.
Because you said,
No,
what you do? Because I'm like, he can.
Because I told you in the pregame I was going to
Well, no, Ben told me.
Oh my god. Alright. Well, yeah, Rangers fans, you can sniff one. Enjoy getting swept by Carolina. And it's
Yeah.
going to be funny when you lose to a backup instead of a third string. Also, Jacob Trouba.
Sniff one.
I don't wish injuries on people, but hopefully you have an early retirement.
Did you just talk about how the league
I would have
wants
cut that out.
injuries, and you just did the same
No,
thing?
I'm just saying, I hope he makes a lot of money and he's able to retire early. He doesn't need to play in the
He's
league.
made his money. He was the number 1 center.
Don't worry, he's
He has
gonna
made
have
his
plenty
nut.
of
Yeah.
goals.
Defenseman.
He's definitely made his nut.
Dude, I loved him when he was in the Jets.
That's the number 1 center.
Yeah, that
He
was
was
fine.
Same thing with Cobb.
He was the
I
number
still
1
like
D-man
Cobb.
before Fox came around. And then Fox came around and it was like,
And Panarin.
Trouba sucks. Trouba's made his nut.
what's his deal? What's his contract name?
Hasn't he?
He's making like $7
Over.
million.
His deal is
8
fat.
million.
Yeah.
Speaking of overpay,
He was
you wanna
supposed
talk
to take
about
another
Seth
step
Jones?
forward.
Can we talk about Seth Jones?
Well,
No,
we're
not
talking
Seth
about
Jones.
overpays.
Seth Jones. We can talk about them later. But do you want to go to Caps or
I
Bees
just wanted to
next?
say that. I don't know. I'm not the host.
Yeah, you actually are the
Oh,
host.
we'll go to the Cavs.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll go to Washington.
No, the Washington.
Washington.
It was the Washington.
Yeah,
Um,
Chris. Pathetic.
In short, Carter Verhaeghe.
All right,
Was the
Bees.
Honestly, I didn't watch much of the series, but it seems
I
like
know.
Florida
No
was trying
one
to
did.
scum the whole time,
I was
and
watching the Penguins.
Washington was doing better than people thought.
I was watching the ads.
Florida was a bit
Sweeping.
overhyped. Like they were gonna come in and just roll them because they literally won 3 games. 2 of them were overtime wins, and one of them they scored with a minute left of their 4 wins.
Yeah.
So they barely pulled out a few wins there.
Ex-Islander Carter Verhaeghe.
Did you see like any?
Islanders?
Drafted.
Okay, I was gonna say. Yeah, I remember playing for them. No.
Did you see like changing their strategy? Because it seems like they came out and tried to scum the whole time, and then the Capitals were like, You can try and scum us all you want. You're not gonna like
Yes.
Ivan Drago like. Use little.
No, the Caps didn't.
I hope the mic picked that up.
The Caps did not hit at all after Tom Wilson was gone midway through Game 1. There was little to no hitting.
Because he leads the charge with that stuff. Like
at least like
jumping
big
the
hitting.
board, stabbing and
Yeah, Trent Frederick. And
He was silent.
if you guys he took a lot of minors. I saw him take plenty of interference penalties, just going up and hitting someone without the puck.
He was silent.
Why was that
penalty to the playoffs?
But
Everything's
Oshie was really good. Ovi was silent.
Penalties should be called in the playoffs.
But that's not how the league works.
I'm sorry, I'm not over it yet because he's not done.
He hasn't changed nice times.
Penalties should be called at all times.
That's not how that's not how hockey works.
Why no?
Do you want your
Because
shoes?
you call 100% of calls.
Why?
Because is hockey a game of 5-on-5 hockey? Is that what hockey is? 5-on-5 trying to score, or is it 5-on-5 with power play and penalty kills mixed in there? That's like it's the majority of the game. The majority of it should be 5-on-5 hockey.
Then teams should play clean.
If you actually think that I don't want to bring the Pittsburgh Penguins into this, but I will bring the Pittsburgh Penguins into this.
What is the problem with one team taking 6 penalties and the other one taking 1? What is the problem with that?
I'll be back.
Because then one team has an extreme advantage the entire time.
Because we're playing the game clean.
But it depends on what the severity of the call is. Like if I slash you like this or I slash you like this, there's a big difference.
Yes.
One gets called, one doesn't. That's my point.
If you slash my hands, that's a penalty. If you slash my face, that's a penalty.
No. Slashing the hands sometimes is a penalty, and it depends on how hard it is, depends on how many times you've done it.
Okay, I saw.
It usually depends on if the ref conceived.
Slash on the face, a high stick.
Reeves had a boarding penalty on Kapanen. He lined him up, like saw the numbers all the way, hit him into the boards, no call. The explanation was, he could have hit him harder. Reeves pulled up.
Chris, I told you for years, Ryan Reeves is a scumbag.
He still boarded him, but he could have hit him harder, so it's not a penalty. Because Ryan Reeves could have crushed him. So because he didn't hit him as hard as he could, that's not a penalty? How is that? That is not how the game should work. That's how guys get hurt.
I also see it as like sometimes teams just out-muscling other teams. Like
There's a difference between out-muscling and taking penalties.
Yes, but I think the
Trent
also
Frederick.
out-muscled the. You're just saying.
I just want to say Trent Frederick.
I know, I can tell.
Frederick.
You guys also think I love that guy? I do not like him.
You do defend him though.
Of course, because he's on my team. Like you defend Tom Wilson.
To an extent, dude. Plenty of things you guys say, but yeah, I know that was a scummy hit. There's no defending.
Like when he jumped into Carlos' head.
Yeah, there's no defending that.
He crushed his head in the.
I'm not. But you'll sit there and be like, "Oh, well, Trent Frederick, it's okay. He's okay."
You two are very sweaty.
I'm not that bad. I'm not that bad.
I can hear it all the way up the stairs. So
All right, so back to the Caps series.
Back to the
What were
Caps.
you talking
You're
about?
talking about the Bruins and Penguins without.
We haven't done the Bruins yet.
Oh,
We haven't done the Bruins yet. Don't worry.
Oshie was really good. Unlike the regular season. Ovi was silent, as he has been since they won the cup.
May I?
No. I don't know. The Florida Panthers, like Mason Marchment, had a lot of dirty hits. Sam Bennett had a lot of dirty hits. Bob played really good. Ekblad was silent for most of the series. I would say I didn't notice him a lot in the ice.
He was on one
He's
leg.
definitely playing.
But I didn't
know.
know until like Game 6, and I actually talked about it, that he was playing. Like they were like he would play like minimum minutes in that game because he got hit in that game in the first, and so he re-aggravated the injury, and he was playing like bottom pairing minutes and getting his hip massaged every time he was on the bench. So
Dude,
he
I
was
bet he has like a
playing.
torn labrum or something.
She's like, that sounds like Ben.
I do have bad hips.
Getting his head massaged.
And Sam
bad
Bennett, he had some dirty plays. I thought it was interesting how they tried to. They were like, all right, every time they got a penalty, they're like, all right, Claude Giroux goes out there, he would win the face-off. They dump it, and then he goes straight to the bench.
Like Luke Glendening.
But he actually kills penalties.
He does.
Yeah, Claude Giroux is transitioning into a third-line bump.
But the funny thing is, they don't even play him in the face-off.
Luke Glendening was always better than Claude Giroux. Take that one to the bank.
Yes.
Yeah, the torch passed from Crosby over Giroux to Glendening.
So
What
yeah,
line is he
I
playing
was
that team, third?
Glendening.
I just no.
Glendening.
We're talking about the Caps Panthers. Giroux.
Oh, okay. He plays like first line wing.
Yeah, he plays
So it's funny how they
He
haven't
hasn't been a
take,
center.
they haven't.
Yeah.
It's funny how they haven't take penalty kill faceoffs because he doesn't even play center.
It's because Barkov's on second power play or penalty kill.
Barkov's OP.
That guy,
Whatever it is, he's on the other one.
He's pretty good, but I think Huberdeau's a lot better.
Oh, yeah. Huberdeau's disgusting.
A lot better.
Well, if you go back to
Huberdeau's the
episode
whole
1,
package.
Huberdeau is on all of our top 10s, and
Huberdeau.
Barkov's on none of them.
He's number 1 for me.
Huberdeau.
yeah, because I haven't been fantasy.
And Barkov's on none of them.
That's
Barkov. I mean, it's hard to put two players in the same team.
My other thing is
run.
the
Macho.
Caps.
I didn't have Brady.
Burgers and pizza.
They switched goalies.
Cut that.
They switched goalies pretty early in the series, and
2 games for some Soma. Or
Vanacek started.
Vanacek was like 1.5.
Was he Bob
He got- No, wasn't his fault. Bad defense, but one of those guys does not need to come back. They need to sign a decent veteran goalie.
Got something
The two young tandem,
I don't know what it looks for.
the two young goalies. They both have promising careers, but they're both kind of taking the slow path into it.
Because they're challenging each other the whole way.
What would you say to a
Who's the
great
starting
Holtby
goal?
return?
Or something
He was
Varlamov
good this
return.
year. I would be fine with Braden Holtby. He was good this year. I would be fine with Varlamov, even though he had a slow start. So I like both of those.
Varlamov as a backup.
I know.
And he's another Russian.
Facts.
What about
That's
What
why-
about Michael
that's why
Neuberg?
it's what's-
Also an
Now, who
ex-Cap.
would you be getting rid of? Because the Caps clearly like Vitek Vanacek.
I would get rid of Jake.
Especially because they traded back for him from the next match.
I was about to say Ilya Samsonov stays because he's a year younger. He had a worse.
And he's supposed to
season.
have
He had a
better
worse
potential,
season.
right?
Yes, he had a worse season, but he was better in the playoffs.
Now,
I love both of them, but
which one?
I wanna look at their stats.
Free agents.
Which one?
both of them.
Oh, both.
They're
They are
both
both RFAs, I think.
Oh, one of them's they're trading one of the rights to one of those guys.
They're both RFAs?
Or
They're
signing
gonna
and
like
trading.
ship them there.
They're both, yeah, I believe they're
Yeah,
both.
ship them.
RFAs.
Ship them up to
Ship them to
Boston.
Siberia.
Why we don't need a goal?
We're shipping out to Arizona.
Why do we need a
We're taking on the Capital League.
Can you talk about Obi's comments?
That will be in the Washington Capitals category.
That's going right after this.
Is that not what this is?
This is what this
Oh,
is.
you want me to do this?
I
Okay.
thought
the
that's what
Washington
this is.
Capitals.
Okay.
Unless you have anything
So-
else about the series.
My impression of the Washington Capitals right now is they are the post 2008-2009 Detroit Red Wings, where they are a playoff team.
for 12 years.
Well, no, because the Red Wings were a playoff team up until 2017, and then they're like, all right, we're just
Yeah,
gonna
true.
rebuild.
But they didn't really do anything, did
Exactly, that's what the Caps are doing.
they? No, that's a
They
good point.
get in the playoffs and they lose
I
in the
see.
first
I
round.
get what you're saying.
They're
now.
kinda like the
They do
Bruins,
right to
is what
an
you're
extent.
So it's like they're gonna keep choking in the playoffs, and so the question is, do you sell the team early if it's gonna be this long rebuild? Because I look at the Red Wings, I'm like, they were bad for a couple of years.
And you don't
But
have
they're
an action
looking.
plan.
The Red Wings are looking
Facts.
real good right
You
now.
know,
And I think-
you know the eyes are
I
blind.
think
Like-
They're looking
but
like they might be.
they're
good.
not gonna
In a couple
rebuild the
years.
team with Ovechkin.
So good.
I don't think
Dylan Larkin
they're gonna
and
try to
Ovechkin have
retool.
to rebuild on.
They haven't this year. They knew that.
I think Laviolette
Playoffs.
needs to stay. He's done good. I think Brian McClellan, the
Even
GM,
with his comb over?
I think Brian McClellan, the GM, should be out the door. That dude.
Especially because of
The
Obi
trades he's
contract.
made in the last two, like he made that terrible Vrana trade, Mantha.
Vrana is nasty.
Vrana is
Mantha,
disgusting.
I really want Anthony Mantha to be good because he's got great size.
He's
but-
he's the tale of two Manthas too, because he's good and then bad. Like
No, he's always average.
Two man.
There's the title of this.
He's
Let's,
always
the tale of two man.
He's always average, Ben. If he scores, it's like, oh wow, like go to something good on the next shift, and
He was
then it's just like
he was like
okay.
injured the entire season, so that doesn't help either.
He played.
So was Vrana.
In my opinion, I don't think the
Vrana
Caps
was not.
needed a fourth power forward in their top six,
No, they needed a fast scoring winger,
which they had.
but he was traded because he choked in the playoffs.
What do you feel about
Hard.
Nick Backstrom too? Because especially apparently he's never going to be the same again. according to a report came out because his
Some
hip is
hip injury that will
destroyed.
never
Well,
like,
he didn't do much this year, right?
He was
He's
not.
not great.
He was hurt.
Kuznetsov was way better. That was on
Kuznetsov.
purpose. That was on purpose.
Wasn't that because he played with Ovi though?
No, he
If
was.
you play with Ovi, you're gonna get assists.
He blew.
I don't think Backstrom is going anywhere.
No, I don't think so either. But
Yeah, he's a solid player.
but Kuznetsov was the guy this year for
Yeah,
number
but he
one
can't win
center.
face-off, so blame him on the winning.
Facts.
I'm sorry. I'm like that dude. He skates into the dot and just stands there, and someone just goes thanks and takes the puck.
You know who
Both Backstrom's not gonna face-off. They play Oshie in the dot on the
or Luke Glendening.
Luke Glendening.
Because that's off lines up in a draw. Glendenning's like, thanks.
Thanks, bro.
Go ahead. I would love if they got Luke Glendening because that team blows at
Number one
face-offs.
center. Number one center.
Like Nick Dowd is good at face-offs, and then the other like Ellers.
He takes like
Backstrom's a little.
the fourth line.
And Kuznetsov is.
Yeah, the fourth line takes like 90% of the defensive draws or something like that, right? Like
They can play defense.
yeah,
And,
I remember that stat last year
calm.
against the Bruins in the playoffs, and they were like Nick Dowd takes every single.
they need to offload Carl Hagelin because like
Oh.
he's never gonna have perfect vision, and he was also bust this year.
How do you feel about their blue line?
What was his contract?
I don't know, but it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
The blue line,
Right back, John.
he's done.
Char's pretty
He
calm.
was terrible. I hate him on the Caps. Just rim it around every time.
Yeah,
Eyes off the glass.
All he
he hates Zdeno Chara.
all he can do is play penalty kill.
We can't do that.
Yeah, he can't skate enough.
I watched him 82
Char,
games.
Char's
this
the
year.
locker room guy.
Yeah,
He
they
is
love him in the
He
locker
played like 9 minutes a night and got like 2
Hey,
goals.
you gotta go. You gotta go.
I think he had a second one too.
Yeah, you gotta go at the end of the year. Yeah, like last
Yeah,
game of the
he
year.
had a couple goals right this season.
2.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
season.
2.
All right, so might I
2 goals.
throw something out there?
But
About
the
the
defense,
Caps.
the defense.
Because Carlson's calm.
I don't hate it.
But Orlov.
Ferrari's got to take another step. Justin Schultz has been solid since he's been here. Orlov, good player, only plays hip checks, but
Why the long
That's
days?
calm.
it's very confident. And then Trevor
Ferrari's been good.
Nick Jensen was very confident this year after being like the Jack Johnson of the Caps 2
Didn't
years
he play with
ago.
Chara?
He played with Trevor Van Riemsdyk and went like plus 30.
No, last year. Wasn't he the guy that played with Chara?
Yes, niggas hated that line. He
It
was like,
was.
That
they put up
sometimes
Char and
was,
Jensen,
yeah.
and they let Nick go every
Dude, it
single
was terrible because last year he was really bad at the start and he got
Just
better.
to give
but
away everything.
2 years ago especially when like his first like full season with the Caps or something or like half season because they got him from the Red Wings in a different trade that was
Yeah, they traded him for Luke Glendening.
Dude, you can't help
If they
yourself
got-
right now.
if they got Mantha and Luke Glendening and still gave up Vrana in like the first I would have been like that was a massive
dude,
win.
the
Luke
GM
Glendening is goated.
I think that's a good point because like the
You
GM,
can just give
he
him
had
Mantha
that
back.
awful Mantha
Yeah.
trade.
Yeah,
and then
honestly-
Ovi signing, like,
Honestly,
right after
keep
that.
Mantha, Vrana, and a first for Luke Glendening.
I don't think that the GM was going to have much say.
Brian McClellan.
Brian
But-
McGlenn. I don't think he was going to
but-
have much to.
Brian McGlenning.
But there was a
They're going
whole
to pay Ovi whatever he wants.
locker room issue with Jacob Vrana.
Yeah,
That's
but
why
at the
he was
same
traded.
time, why are
Yeah.
they giving him that fat of a contract at the end?
I don't understand why Alex.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, here comes a massive Ovi pay cut. He's gonna get paid like 5.5, and it's like Ovi getting paid 10.5, and I'm like,
You're like, what? Yeah.
Hey, bum.
He was like,
Yeah,
let's
you gotta
go,
pay
time to
Bob.
make my money. Yeah,
like
yeah.
okay.
Might I say
Get that
something
blue
about the
credit card.
Capitals?
Yes, here comes the base Penguins opinion.
So, you said they're in a bit of a
Wow.
cup hangover. Is it possible that part of that might be because they're more concerned with getting Ovi to the goal record than
No.
winning in the playoffs?
No.
Can I make a comparison?
That
You
is
know what I
19
thought
goals.
when Chris was talking? When he said, could that be because? And I was just sitting here and he like paused and I was like thinking about, I love you because.
We're not playing that. Not playing that.
That's a new episode. That's the next
Not
episode.
at all.
Because you have based hockey takes about the Bruins.
Not at all.
Shut that up. Oh my god. I would actually compare the hangover statement, like you just said, the cup
To the
hangover.
movie.
I would compare that to the Pens and the Capitals. Neither one of those teams can get over the hump yet to the second round since. How long is that deficit for both of you guys?
2018.
2018. Well,
So far,
they won a series the year we won the cup,
We played in the second round.
and
you bumped him to the
we
second
have not won a series since then.
round. Sorry. Sorry.
When was the last time the Bruins won the cup?
You said 2011.
2013.
2011. They
2011.
lost to the Blackhawks.
Sorry. Tough memory.
2019.
2015, actually. Actually, no, 2013. 2015
They've
was
been to the most recent cup.
Ooh, that Montreal did not go last year.
No,
Tampa.
the
yeah,
most recent cup.
Yeah, I was thinking.
Yeah,
about
the
it.
Blues. Yeah.
84. Yeah, that's not the most recent.
No. That's the most recent out of our team.
Oh yeah, out of our teams.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, yeah.
Everybody else is a
Van Halen.
Toronto fan.
That's the
Yeah,
Toronto
Van
fan. Oh man.
All right. Anything else about the Caps?
Yeah, Trevor Van Riemsdyk was fine on third pair. Michael Kempney was like a third pairing defender, and that's why they got Chara.
Mm.
And then he was hurt all last year, and then was healthy for this season, but was pretty butts. I don't know if he's ever going to get better again.
Michael Kempney.
But,
I haven't seen
yeah.
much of him.
He hasn't really played.
Yeah.
He played in a few games, but like he did not make the team out of camp.
The only defensemen I really noticed in the Capitals are like Orlov and Carlson. That's like pretty much it.
And Carlson gets a lot of flack.
And Justin
Oh,
Schultz
yeah,
is
he's
Chris
always
Olsen
missing his
plays well.
defensive assignments.
Justin Schultz.
Faravari was
He
good
always-
too.
he
He's
always
a good.
listens.
He's a young guy that will like develop.
Well, that's the only games you watch, like with the Capitals.
Yeah, no, but it's like
He is a good. He has been good.
okay, but he's one of those guys where it's like, oh, he always scores against the Pens. No, like honestly, Orlov is one of those guys. Orlov always scores against the Pens. Everly was one of those guys when he was on the Islanders. He always scored against the Pens.
Josh
Now
Bailey
Brock
always
does.
scores against the Caps.
Right, no, now
Brock Nelson scores against everybody.
Josh
Now-
Bailey
now it's
always
Bailey.
scores against the Caps, and Anders Lee.
Josh Bailey sucks. I hate Josh Bailey.
Brock McGinn.
Trade him for
Alright.
sixth.
let's swing it over to the Big Bear,
Oh.
Ben.
He's talking Big Bear.
I've got a lot of harsh words. So.
Fire Cassidy.
Fire away, Ben.
That's coming. Don't worry. But let's start with a look back at last season's playoffs. Right. So we lose to the Islanders in how many
That's
games?
many teams.
How
too.
many games did we lose?
6, I think.
Six?
Maybe. Yeah, it was 6.
What would you say, Matt, were the Bruins' biggest problems against the Islanders, or that they exploited?
That the Islanders exploited?
Yeah.
We got in their heads. Because Barry Trotz complained about Bergeron's face-offs, and then Bruce Cassidy talked about
Okay,
Nielsen.
on ice.
Oh,
on ice,
about like-
on ice. On ice.
No, I think he's right though. I think
I think the Islanders were just deeper.
And we didn't have any
'Cause, like,
depth scoring, right?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, game winners were like Cizikas scored one OT winner in the fourth line battle. I think wasn't there was like a 2-0 game or something.
Well, that's
It was
what wins in the
structure.
playoffs,
It was structure
yeah.
and depth.
Depth wins in the playoffs. Depth and reps.
Not Rask.
And
I would say goaltending was a big part of it because Tuukka blew.
Well, it was Rask.
Our blue line was basically Charlie McAvoy and no one else. And we had no depth scoring.
So
This
your
season-
defense, your offense, and your goalie.
Yes. yeah.
so
This season.
and the coach
this
was
season-
rattled.
Yeah. Okay.
This season we had
That's
front
how
office.
Swayman and Olmark in net. I thought they both played good, even though Olmark lost 2 games. He lost the first 2 games. I thought Swayman and Olmark played really well. I didn't think any of those was their fault. I love that hug. So great. Defense, I thought Hampus Lindholm for Game 6 when he was on the ice, and 7. I didn't really get to see him too much in Game 1 because
Where was Jacob's immoral?
Svechnikov's scum.
Did he get penalty calls?
Jacob's
No,
immoral.
he should have. You guys all said that was a clean hit, so I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't remember
But
that.
Which one?
Well, it wasn't the Penguins.
I've
so
seen
it's
so
not-
many. I've seen so many dirty
On
hits
Hampus
over the
Lindholm.
past week and a half.
That was
It's
clean.
his initial contact was the head, but I don't
It
like
was-
that.
it was
I get
it's
it.
a 10
I
The
get it.
McAvoy one's clean. The Svechnikov one's clean.
Fair enough. Exactly.
Clearly not.
Hampus Lindholm was great, I thought, on the blue line. Great pickup for them by the trade deadline.
Great Bickle.
I'm sorry.
Brian Bickle was real good.
Bickle.
Glenn
They
Beasley
signed.
on the team.
They signed.
Anyways,
And then when we tried to trade for Luke Glendening after Game 3, that was really good. Even though it didn't happen.
And
Who wouldn't?
Coyle and
try
DeBrusque
trade
were
for
great too. I thought they were awesome.
DeBrusque had a much better year than he
When he was
He's a
with...
good
Didn't
He was
Coyle
with
fail in the
Bergie
last
and-
game?
Bergie, no. Oh, Coyle, yes on that, but, like, I'm looking at the whole series.
No.
Like, he misses an open chance, but it also, like, looking back on that, it was really frustrating when I saw it. This was the cross crease with the wide open net, by the way.
And the puck bounced over his
And the puck bounced on his blade. That happens. You know, how much of that was his fault, and how much of that is just the pass being unlucky,
Or bad ice.
or
Bad ice is
and
also a
Canes
problem.
and-
Yeah,
and,
MSG,
and-
bad ice.
MSG
Yeah.
is a dump.
If you can't,
MSG is a dump.
if you
Terrible
can't
lighting,
keep
bad ice.
cold-
The away goalie can't sit with the team.
Why are we talking about
If
MSG?
you have,
It's a dump.
if you
Yeah,
can't
you
keep
said bad
ice
ice.
cold, why
He said bad.
are
ice.
you hosting NHL
Bad
games?
dates.
Play every game at PPG.
Let's play every game at Gila River Arena.
Let's play every game at ASU.
Or West Side.
Yeah, or West Side
That's right.
Arena.
Let's play every game at the tiny rink that is West Side.
My point is that, like, all the Bruins' problems from last season in the postseason, I thought probably 90% of them, maybe some more toughness on
Depth scoring.
No, we had depth scoring.
Not in
Jake
the playoffs.
Yeah, we did. Charlie Coyle, absolutely.
That's one
Who's the
dude
second
on the
line?
bottom six.
No, he's third line. Charlie Coyle was awesome, and I thought who
Yeah,
else
but that's
was
one
good?
dude in the bottom six, though.
I thought the fourth line played really good. I thought Charlie Coyle was great. I thought the second line was silent. And my biggest guys that I had a problem with this series were
Taylor Hall.
Taylor Hall, Pasternak, and Bruce Cassidy.
The
Because
The bear.
The best thing was when Dad said after
Taylor Hall
game
was
4.
so bad.
Dad said after game
So
4, like,
bad.
Taylor Hall is one of the best guy in the series.
He's the
And
guy.
Dad was
He's the
like,
guy
"What?"
who just signed this fat deal, who's expected to like come and play and like. Did he even score 20 goals this year? He's a bum.
I told you, man. I
He
told
was
you.
So
I
trash.
said he's gonna play when he's
He was
due
so
for a
bad.
contract, and then
Like-
he's gonna be butts.
I think part of that
players wanna
is
go out and do
because
well. Like, it's-
Eric Holla is not a second line center.
you're smoking it. Eric Hall was awesome this year. He was great for that
That's
second
that's
line.
the
Eric Holla
But
is
he
not-
can't match up against other second
but
line
he-
centers.
yes,
man.
I disagree with that.
He can't match up against Vincent Trocheck. He can't match up against Evgeny Malkin.
I think
can't match
Holla
up
had a
against
bad
Will
series.
Brock
Brock Nelson.
Stammer.
I
Brock
think-
Nelson.
Or Klaus Rue.
I think Holla had a
Nick
bad
Baxter.
series, but I don't think that was the whole season. I thought he was a great second line center, and that second line worked in the regular season. It was just silent in the postseason. And Holla took a lot of penalties, and he was not that great in the postseason. But I thought Taylor Hall was awful. He took the biggest game deciding penalties. Like he had that awful freaking
And-
double minor high stick.
Another quiet playoffs from Pasta.
Another quiet. Ugh. I don't know why he was that bad, but like the fact that he can't produce when it actually matters. And we watched
He scored one goal.
one of the clips. I don't remember.
Really
We,
bad.
we watched the.
Better make it a medium. I've only got 7 games. Sorry, I just thought about that.
At least my series went to 7 games.
He has to play Florida.
That's true.
Carolina
It's not a good team.
Carolina is not not.
They won the Metro.
I'm sorry. Auntie
thinking-
Ranta is not Sergei Bobrovsky.
Have you seen their blue line, dude?
Have you seen Florida's blue line?
Oh, Florida's blue line is
Have
not
you
as good
seen
as
the
Canadians.
Rangers blue line?
Not as good as Canadians. Not as
It's
good as
totally
Canadians.
mountains.
No, it's not.
Gustav
You have
Forsling
a
was
50%.
goated the whole
You have
series.
50% Ekblad. They have Brady Shea. They have Jacob Slavin.
Mackenzie
They
Weegar.
have
Anthony
Brandon
D'Angelo.
Anthony D'Angelo.
Oh, you're not talking about the Florida.
They have Eric Smith.
Okay, well, are we talking about Brendan Smith?
Brendan Smith.
Brendan Smith.
If we're talking about
That's
actual
fine.
defense,
Utah
dude, you can
State
combine like 3 of those
Defense.
offensive defensemen, and they're not as good as Clamp, Radko, Gudis. That dude was
I
absolute
disagree.
clamp
I
the whole
disagree.
series.
I think
Montour,
Jacob
Aaron
Slavin was
Ekblad.
probably one of the best.
No, but I'm
defensemen
saying
on
the offensive ones, like Brady Shea and
Tony D'Angelo was
Tony
disgusting.
D'Angelo
He was
and-
the best offensive defenseman.
yeah, but I'm saying I'm talking about defensive ability. The Florida Panthers have
You
a
just
better
said
defense than
offensive
the Kings.
defenseman.
No, I said
The Canes have better-
combine 3 of the offensive defensemen, and they are not better defensively than Radko Gudis.
The Canes play
Yeah,
a more
he's a defensive
defensive
defenseman.
system.
And he had clamps.
The Canes play a more defensive system. They have better defensive forwards, other than Barkov.
Yes, they have much better defensive forwards,
Yeah.
but the defense as a whole, Florida's
Yeah.
better, especially
I
because
disagree
Gustav
with
Forsling. But like you didn't watch the series, Gustav
Me and
Forsling
Chris
was
had this
insane.
exact
I
discussion
believe
a
you,
while ago.
but I think that the Canes
About the Canes
defense was
and
disgusting. We couldn't
About
have
the
any
depth.
neutral.
But I
zone.
also think that the
Oh, Canes and ass.
Bruins had a bad 5-on-5 play.
I agree,
doesn't help.
and that goes on Cassidy because he freaking blows as a coach.
But it's going to make
He's so bad.
It's going to make
Now,
the
do you
defense
think
look better.
Do you think that's because he's not making adjustments? He's just rolling the same crap out there?
No,
Like,
yes, because his adjustments are
correct
just like, I'll put Pasta back on the top line. And then, guess what? That doesn't work. It doesn't work.
There's the intro part.
Can you do that voice again?
No, I'm not doing that again. But like, that's all his adjustments are. It's like, I'll take Frederick out.
Oh,
By the way,
great, Ben.
two of the people
That
who had
was
the
great.
worst series, Craig Smith, who sucked this year. He was so bad.
Dude,
and
what?
Trent Frederick. Trent Frederick was awful this series. Oh my god.
He's just a bad player. He just sucks at hockey.
He's a bad player.
Admit it. All he does is hit and take penalties.
He's like a
He does
sixth
nothing
rounder.
else. He's bad defensively. He's bad offensively. He can't skate, and he has a terrible
They're
mentality.
trying to make him into something, and I don't know what it is.
They're trying to make
It's
him a
not-
baby Marchand.
No. that's-
Wouldn't you rather have
no,
Oscar Steen play?
No, I wouldn't. Because Oscar Steen's not as like.
Would
he
you rather have
doesn't have
Luke
the
Glendening?
physicality.
Yeah, but he can
We
skate.
need
everybody
physicality on the team.
He
Like
can move his feet.
our bottom six, I don't care. We have enough people who move their feet. Jake DeBrusk is a baby Martian. If you want to look at that, he played really physical.
That's true.
He's been great. Yeah, and he's like that same size and like not as ratty,
He's
but
not
like
My
Yeah,
rebuttal
yeah.
to that is I've heard a lot of, because I listen to 98.5 every once in a while.
Sports.
And
Women's radio
that's your
network.
first mistake.
And I hear the guys calling in, and they're like, "Yeah, the Bruins need to get tougher. They didn't bring the toughness this year. They get beaten up on the ice." I think that's completely wrong. The Bruins have plenty of toughness.
Especially their defense.
It's the toughness mentality. And you get that from players like Bergeron. I'm not saying Bergeron's scummy. He's tough.
But he plays
Bergeron
Doesn't
plays a
want a
tough
lady
brand.
bang.
Yeah.
Yes, but he plays a tough brand of hockey.
He plays solid.
Yes, Marchand plays tough.
Maybe.
McAvoy plays tough. McAvoy's
He's a
only
good guy.
6 foot
If
tall.
he did it,
Yeah,
he
plays
would
tough.
have to be
McAvoy
six-
clobbers
Yeah.
people, dude.
Like,
He clobbers people.
and it's not just about the
agree.
hits, but
But
like,
like you also can't have those guys standing up for your team 24/7. Like you need someone like you need like a fourth line bum to just go
Like
out
Jordan
and be.
Like
You
Trent
need like a
Frederick.
Brian Boyle on like a third or fourth line who can go out and like and be big.
Or
That's not a good
like
example.
Brian
but, like,
Boyle, Matt Martin.
Brian Boyle
Reeves.
got scummed and injured.
a good example would be Jordan Stahl.
Or
He
Matt Martin.
shut down the perfection line so bad. Like
And he also wins faceoffs, like
Casey Cizikas.
Luke
Luke
Glendening.
Glendening.
There you go.
Jordan Stahl was
also Casey
disgusting
Cizikas.
in
Yes.
this series.
My thing-
he was non-existent on like any offense at all, but like defensively in the neutral zone, he's so big and just like a fat dude on the ice that he can just clobber
Like
people.
Batman.
So
It's-
what they should have
no,
done
Batman
then
blows.
is they should have scratched Frederick and played Josh Brown as a forward.
They did scratch Frederick, and I think one of their best games was
Wagner played
they had
much better
Wagner.
than him. Why did he
His
not
first
stay in the
game-
lineup then?
Well, he was. Their fourth line was worse the next game, but their
Why is Tomasz Nosek in the lineup?
Fourth line center.
no, it's
Oh,
Lazar. He played wing.
Because Nosek, I don't think he's good.
He's silent.
He
You know,
was-
he's not
he was
that
Does he
good.
play penalty kill?
He was trash on Vegas.
Yeah.
I think he's trash on the Bruins.
He's not. It's not like it's not even trash enough where I
He's
notice
He's
it.
not physical.
It's-
Exactly. You don't notice him.
I think,
But-
and that's
And he's
like
like
the
an
only time
average
you do.
defender. He's like an average defender.
he's not a defender. He's a forward.
No. By I mean defensively, because
Oh.
he's a penalty killer.
The only time I notice, and the only reason I even know he's on that team, is because every once in a while, New Jack will go, Nosek.
I don't see him, which I'm okay with. If I don't see you doing something wrong, then like Frederick and Smith. Oh, so Cassidy, an idiot. Instead of like trusting his team and letting them play, he was like, "All right, I'm just gonna bench 2 of our forwards, so the rest of our guys get gassed in the second period of
And-
Game 7."
And what did he do
Oh
with
my
Pasternak
God.
again?
Put him back on the first
Put
line.
him back- no, but that shut down Halla and Hall.
Yeah,
because
they have no one to
they
set everything
sucked.
up for.
They blew, yeah. And then
Wow.
DeBrusk did worse because of that. Then Craig Smith did worse because of that.
You know what they do?
So then what
in that bottom
happens?
six?
What happens with the Bruins?
Luke
This
Glendening.
I would love. Okay, first of all, a lot of this depends on Bergeron staying. I think Bergie, and I think all you guys can agree, he's a great player. He's still one of the best centers in the league, and especially defensively and a two-way. He's so good with Marchand and Pasternak or DeBrusk, depending who's on the line. And if he can come back and play, that's huge.
Based,
What do you got?
Based on the reaction though after that Game 7, I have doubts he's coming
I
back.
don't know. He didn't
'Cause he
really
gave a
say
hug to
anything. He
everyone.
was kind of like
True.
he was like
That's all
I can't think about this right now. I kind of was like a neutral to me.
My-
Marshy was like,
My thing
this
is,
could be it.
is that
he was like
all his friends are gone because Rask retired and
Marchand said
Char's
it could
gonna
be for
retire.
him.
No,
for
for
Berg.
Berg. He was like that's why this one
He's
hurts
like
even
different,
more
yeah.
because that could be it for him.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what the Bruins need though?
What?
If they want a solid fourth line center.
Luke Glendening.
Or Honestly, though, a solid third line center who's good two-way.
Jesse Pedro.
Adam Lowry.
Also
He's got size. He can.
I'd rather have him.
Well, we don't know if he's a free
He's
agent.
not
I
a
think we
second
should get
line
into different like free agents and guys.
He
and
could be.
good team
Eric
fits
Howland.
on a later episode. What do you think happens with Bruce Cassidy? You said you got a big problem with
Butch Cassidy.
I hate
fired.
Bruce Cassidy so much, dude. I hate him so
Torts,
much.
get torts.
First of all, I really started to dislike him after last season with what he did with Tuukka Rask, and he was like, I'm going to trust my goalie. I'm going to trust my goalie. I'm going to trust my goalie. Even though he literally is playing with one hip. He was playing with one hip.
I love
He
the
left him in the
Cassidy
nuts.
impression.
And you could have like taken him out and just put in Swayman, who was nails in this playoff series. Like he was great.
But I mean, the locker room was also like, that's Tuukka's net.
True.
That's
But
true.
at some point, are you the coach or are you the locker room?
That's
bench?
true. You got to make a decision.
You know, like, are you the coach? Are you the coach? Barry Trotz was the coach of the
They shouldn't
Islanders.
believe that.
He bossed them around, and that's why they hated him.
He bench
But-
Barnes out. They didn't hate him.
Well,
Not when they were making the conference finals every year.
I'm saying
Yeah,
this
they're like-
this
they're like
postseason,
playing
they were
ping pong
like,
before
a
night.
lot of people were done with his stuff. So
Well, I disagree. We'll get into the very.
we'll get to that later.
I'm
But
going to trust my goal.
regardless, I think there's
Oh,
problems with
that's
Cassidy in the
good.
locker room this year. I also think that he, like in the clutch moments, he's awful. He has no strategy when like there was no answer for the Islanders last year. There was nothing because like we played their game the entire time. What do we do with the Canes this year when we have all the right pieces? We have like two defensemen who are gonna like lead our franchise in the future.
The guys were generally healthy.
Guys, we were one of the healthiest teams going into playoffs. What did we do? We lost in 7 games and we only won at home, and we sucked.
And they also didn't have their starting
Sucked.
goalie.
And they didn't have their starting goalie.
Yeah.
And we let like
Volkanoia.
No, it's
Kochetkov.
Kochetkov. Pyotr Kochetkov.
We let that guy, and I think a lot of it was because the defense was shutting down the offense so much. But I would, God,
He was a shutdown zone ability.
I don't blame the GM. I don't blame Don Sweeney. I don't blame him because I thought he did all the right moves. He's had some awful moves in the past. You know, the whole Zaboral, DeBrusk, Senyshyn draft, awful.
I think
Hated
if we
that.
want to
bad.
blame it on
So
somebody,
Brusky's paying off a
What
bit
do you
right
mean
now.
about that?
I would blame it on the Boston
That
Red
was the
Sox
year
for
that
their
they had the
bogus
3
play.
draft picks.
Oh,
and
that they
taken
took
Matt
Zaboral,
Barzal.
DeBrusk, and some other bum over.
Zach Senyshyn.
Just for the clarify it for the viewers.
They just
Over Connor,
resigned.
Barzal, and Shabbat.
They just resigned Zaboral for like a $1.5 million contract.
Barcy's playing on a line with
Kyle Connor.
Batherson
Tom
and
Shabbat.
Kent Johnson for Canada right now in the World's
Wow.
Juniors.
Apparently, both the Canada and
World
US are
Championship.
playing like scumbags because they have all like these
Bathurst's
4th line
gross.
games. Like Austin Watson's on the US team.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And that'll continue. Guys will get hurt as long as the refs don't call the playbook.
I just
It's not
think
in the
that
NHL.
Yeah, I don't really
Cassie's
care.
trying to run like a weird defensive system, but not a full defensive system like Rod Brindamore or Barry Trotz. He's just doing a like, oh yeah, we'll play defense, but then it's just the forwards just have to try and score. The forwards just have to go and score.
That's
And-
literally what
Yeah,
that
I like his
The
face-off
Islanders
plays.
have star power.
I think their plays off the face-off are some of the best in the league, and I think
It's
that
because you
they.
can count on Bergeron to win the thing.
Yup, and I
Dallas
think,
has really good.
and I think
plays
Pastas
off
and
faceoffs.
Marchand have great like connection
They
right
know
off the
they
draw, but
And they have Sagan.
their
Against draws.
their performance in the playoff the past like 5 or 6 years have just been atrocious.
Same.
Like they can't. Well, except for
Todd Beard.
they have a good run, and
Same.
then I feel like they hit a team that knows how to play against them, and there's no response.
A team
There's
that
no
knows
like,
that
oh,
it
now
knows
we
it.
now we play against
They
them.
know 6 how to play. Yeah.
That
So
knows
is
it.
Cassidy gone?
I would love for him to be gone,
All
but
right.
I'm going to say that he's not
Who
going
would
to
you
be
like to
gone.
hire if he's gone potentially?
Torts.
Um,
You're not
I
getting
would,
Trotz.
I would be okay.
Tortorella,
We're not.
Quenneville.
We wouldn't get Trotz. I don't think the Bruins too cheap.
Quenneville?
No, he's.
I don't think
Hugh's not getting a job.
He'd probably like let one of the coaches like assault one of our players. I would.
If he wins your cup, he wins your cup.
I would be okay with DeBoer.
A cup's a cup,
I'd be
man.
okay with DeBoer. I'd be okay with who's the guy from Winnipeg?
Paul Maurice.
Yeah, Paul.
Maurice. I'd be okay
He's actually a
with
good
Maurice.
He's a very good coach.
I expect him to get a job. No
Um,
one's talking about it, but I expect him to
Yeah,
get a job.
it depends if he wants to.
He coached
stay
there
or
for
not.
like 11 years.
I would think about probably not a Ricky.
Travis Green.
No.
What about Zdeno Chara?
Travis Green. What about
No.
Milan Lucic is
That would be
poached
dumb.
after the Flames
I would
win the
think
cup?
about
What if Chara
And
was
he
a good
decides
coach?
to-
the Flyers' old coach.
What about
Think about
Shumpert?
that guy.
Oh, that dude.
Vigneault.
That
Depends
dude.
on what he comes
Or
to.
after playing the Bruins in 2011, Dad would lose his gourd.
I mean, look
Most
at
Bruins fans would
look
lose
at
their
the Pens.
True.
Look at the Pens
They hate that guy.
GM. He's like a.
It's different though. It's not a head coach.
Yeah, he's running the team. He's signing all
Barry
these big
Trotz
players.
was a Metropolitan coach who beat the Islanders out of the playoffs and then won a cup with the Capitals. And I love him on my team. I did for a while.
I don't know. What do you guys think the Bees should do? Because what are
I
your
don't
thoughts?
mind
I don't know. I feel like I haven't let you guys
CPA,
talk about, but like I feel like it's such a good team that should be going and winning, and then they're not.
They need another top six winger, or no, sorry,
Another?
They need a second line center.
We have like 50
They
top
need a
six.
second line center, and they need depth.
You need like
have
a
this.
really
I
solid.
feel like we had depth.
You need like
right?
a really solid second line center that has can play top line. If
Someone in
someone
depth is
to
not
like,
there.
for lack of a better team, like Brock Nelson.
Yeah.
Like you know what he's gonna do? He's gonna put up 30.
We need like
and he's gonna
who's
play
that guy
really
in Vegas? The
Mark Stone,
no.
Max Pacioretty.
Nope.
Chandler Stevenson.
William
Chandler
Carlson.
Stevenson.
Nicholas
Chandler
Waugh.
Stevenson.
AKA Chandler Stevenson, AKA Dave Grohl. Looks just like him.
Yeah, sign Dave Grohl. He'd probably be real good.
So he's a coach.
He does like Chandler
Dave
Stevenson.
Grohl, head coach of the Bruins.
I
The
think
blue line's locked.
I think-
I'm happy with that.
I think
they don't need to
need
touch
they
that.
need a better second line center to make their bottom six better because Howard can play line 3. I
Howard's
think
a
they
good-
need to
Howard would
fire.
be a real good third line center.
You'd be great on the third
I think
line.
they need to fire Cassidy and bring their AHL coach up. I think that usually works for teams. And
Glendening.
I think Luke Glendening. I think they need to trade Olmark for the second line center.
Good
And
luck.
give Swayman the net.
Maybe.
Yeah, I like.
But he's kind of got a monkey contract, so.
He kind of needs to get in. Olmark? No, he's okay.
But
That's a
to
trade.
every team we talk about, Luke Glendening.
True.
I don't know.
I think he should be the
I
top
feel
one.
like,
make a
I
league
feel like
that's just
Colorado
Luke
wasn't the
Glendening.
problem. I
I
get like
got him in
offense.
every Chell
Yeah,
franchise, dude.
Really? Well,
Every
he's
Chell
I get
franchise,
offenses
he's
run
90
for
face
centers,
off.
but I feel like Colorado wasn't the problem this year.
I think if you're not getting
I
enough
feel
out
like
of
the
your
offense
wingers,
wasn't coached correctly.
If Taylor Hall's not going to drive the play in that line, then the center has to.
It should be.
So it has to be
Pastrnak.
someone better than Eric Hallow.
Not Pastrnak.
Pastrnak's more of a trigger man.
Exactly, but I don't know. Like, because Taylor Hall sucked. Like he was so.
That's because he needs someone to drive play for
Which
him.
is not good. Like and
You need Bo Horvath.
Neither one of them are gonna. I already did. They're not gonna compete for a top line
They already had Bo Horvath.
spot against Martian. Like Martian's locked in. He's amazing, but I don't know. I'd be worried about getting a second line center and then signing a fat center to another fat contract.
Mark Scheifele.
And then our bottom six, we think we cannot afford Mark Scheifele. We'd have to give
Because
up so
I think he
much.
has to be traded, right? He's not a free agent.
We'd have to give up like all of our bottom six.
You know who is a free agent? He's not a center.
Glendening.
But no, he might be. But Riley Smith, former Bruin.
It's going to be expensive.
Former Bruin.
Yeah.
Apparently, a lot of the bad
There's a lot of
teams
interest in
might
him,
overpay
so-
for
Oh,
him.
really? Like Arizona.
I would
Detroit,
wonder if
Arizona,
what
Ottawa.
Vancouver's
We're trying
going
to
to
get
do.
that like a top 6 forward.
Riley Smith on Detroit could make that team pretty good quickly.
I think he's a little overrated. He kind of
He
has been
is.
bad the past few years.
He was good this year. He was good last year. I had him in fantasy both years.
One of those years he was bad.
I want fantasy.
One of those years he was. I
Could be
feel like he
never
was
again,
halfway. I thought.
That's
Can we get another?
my bees.
All right,
That's my bees. The bees.
Can we get another Bruce
suck this
Cassidy
year.
interview quote?
No.
All right, so let's
Rick Angry's like, I don't know what you're
Tampa,
gonna do.
Toronto. Let's breeze through these just through the rest of these. Tampa, Toronto.
Tampa was always a lock. Toronto sucks. They're never.
Next. 100%
No.
agree.
Toronto.
Let's
You
go.
want
Let's
to
go
give
Tampa, baby.
You want me to just give a take on every single series, like as we run through?
No.
quickly?
No, okay.
Tampa's
Riley
going to come
Smith?
again.
Riley Smith had 38 points in 56 games.
It's not bad.
But like,
Not bad at all. He was still on time, too.
and okay, last year he was really good. 25 and 53.
That's better than this year.
Half
No,
point
it's
per
not.
game.
38 and 56.
Oh, he only played 56 games.
A half point per game is a solid NHL player.
I just think people are going to overpay.
I agree.
I think
for a
they
half
will
point
too.
I think.
player.
Well, but if he finds a
3.5.
way on the number one power play instead of number two.
3.5.
Is Kadri going to
3.5 for Riley Smith.
this
What do
offseason?
we think?
Yes.
3.5.
Oh my God, Kadri
3.5.
and Johnny Gaudreau are going to be out there.
He's going to go for more than that.
Johnny Gaudreau's
I agree, but
He's fine.
that's probably like
That is what he's worth. He is
That's
like
what I'm
a
wondering.
3.5 over 4
I don't know
years.
what
Kind
You know
of
who's making 3 on the Islanders?
Brock Nelson.
No,
Andersley.
not he's making. I think he's making.
No, Andersley's making like 5.
Andersley's making 7.
Because in my
Rick
franchise
TK.
mode, he's
TK.
at 78 and going.
He is making that much.
And they're trying to offload him. And
He might be making five or something.
$3 million in the J.G. Basham.
He's making five.
Who?
Anthony Pavilion.
Oh, pretty
Playing
good.
second line.
Young guy.
How many years does he have left?
JG Pageau's overpaid. That's cool.
All right. We'll get into that another day.
Luke Glendening.
I don't know about that.
Just say Luke Glendening.
Okay, back to Tampa, Toronto. I'm very, very happy that Toronto lost again
Same.
because they suck.
This year was different. The fan base does not have to be mad at the team because they choked anything.
They're
It was just a good series.
Yeah, Toronto fan base, if you're watching this,
It was.
If all of Toronto's watching.
But am I wrong?
broadcast us something.
It wasn't. It
No,
wasn't
they
like
played fine.
choking 3-1 to the
They played fine.
Canadians.
They just played a
That's
first team.
not the principle, niggas. The principle is that they lost in the first round again,
Principle is money.
and they suck.
To the casual
And-
fans, it's the same.
Yep. I'm not a casual fan.
To the casual
And
fans, they look, oh, Toronto lost in 7 games to Tampa Bay Lightning.
typical. I just think
Burn
it's
the
hilarious
place.
that this great team that is
Great regular season.
Sorry.
people said
I will never
this is the
support the
greatest
Tampa Bay Lightning.
Leaf team in
Yeah.
franchise history,
Okay.
and they still lost
Which is hilarious.
against
They
Tampa.
said that because they had the most
Which is not
regular
a
season
third.
points franchise history.
They,
and they have the
didn't
best
even,
leaf of all time on their team right now.
Austin Matthews.
Yes.
They didn't even have.
He's goated.
No, he's not. 0 cups.
Yes. 60
Zero
goals.
round
Dave
wins.
Pastrnak, 0 cups.
How many round wins?
Okay, he doesn't win rounds himself.
Glendening.
Matthews is better than Pastrnak.
I gotta say, how many round wins?
Okay, there's no way you're saying.
How many
Pastrnak,
cup appearances?
do you think? Okay, well, the cup
All right.
appearances.
I saw.
Indianapolis Colts
more
like
than Toronto.
AFC
More than
championship
Toronto.
participant.
Yeah, there you go.
More than Toronto?
But are you saying Pastrnak's better than Matthews?
No, I'm not saying
Okay.
that. But I'm saying he's a better playoff player than he is.
Okay.
That is
Yeah, technically.
When Pasta
not
plays
wrong.
good in the playoffs, yeah, not
yeah,
this year,
all like
but in,
1 year of
in
it.
years past.
This year was different for Toronto, and
My mind trick is-
and I don't know. I can never support Tampa Bay, but the
You're
Eastern
correct.
Conference
What I was
matchup
gonna
from
say,
hell is Tampa
I hate
Bay
them.
versus New York Rangers.
Yeah.
That's like
That's the worst.
I hate both teams.
That's when I just root for the West.
Alright. On the
Next.
West.
Yeah, I had something to say, but I totally forgot.
It was me. Okay, go to the
Jack
West.
Campbell?
Colorado, Nashville. Colorado was always sweeping the series. Saros never coming back. Next.
I picked it.
I when I said it on the last pod, I said I had Nashville in 7 because they reported Saros was going to come back after Game 2 before the playoffs started. That did not happen. Not surprised they got swept.
Yep.
Connor Ingram.
Ingram got
David
cheesed.
Riddick is so bad.
Ingram-
Oh my
Ingram
god.
got-
That thing
did you
is-
guys see the
that thing
rage?
is so bad.
Did you guys
I'll
see
take
the
one
rage
over
that he
the
had
man.
after like the first game?
Dude, he had 5 goals in like 11 shots.
Did you
Take one
see?
for Louis Domingue.
Louis
Did you
Domingue
see-
got six games.
Take it. No, he got 3 games.
3
He
games.
won 3 games.
Okay, well he
Lost 3 games.
like David Riddick did not even play half a period, and you want him over Louis Domingue? Rethink that statement.
Have you seen Riddick? Riddick, when he raged after he got pulled, was hilarious. Oh my god, he was like freaking out and spiking his stick in the back.
He's going to be off the team next year. Ingram's going to be the backup, and the dude they just said, Askarov, is going to be the AHL goalie.
Oh,
Yeah.
Apparently, in some international game, he's a big meme because he threw his stick like 8 times. So
Oscar Steve did that
everyone,
last
or
week.
like he dropped it like 8.
Oh,
a
really?
goalie like 8 times, and so like he'd be good if he keep his hand on his stick. So yeah.
It's in on
Okay,
what?
really?
Okay, next series. Next
Next.
series.
Dallas, Calgary. Calgary won.
Luke
7.
Glendening.
Dallas is a lot better than people thought.
Very
Oh yeah, man. The original take was
I
Dallas
watched,
is gonna
like,
make Stanley
none of
Cup
it.
Finals.
I watched
And
like
then it
none of
changed
it.
to Dallas.
It was never Dallas.
In the Discord.
It was the Dallas is going to make the Western Conference.
In the Discord,
It
it is
didn't
Stanley
happen.
Cup
It
Finals.
just didn't happen. But I also took, like, Bayern took Boston and Pittsburgh. So,
We have to get the
why are we
clubs
saying
from-
Matt's an idiot for that?
Yeah, I mean, I think most people have the Flames a better team, but yeah, Dallas did better than people.
Dallas
think.
put up a fight.
Otter is pretty calm.
If Dallas makes playoffs, they make the
Joe
Cup Finals.
Pavelski's a horse.
If Otter wants to come to the Penguins,
It never existed.
that would be a great team.
I'll add it to the comments.
Every
section.
case is not that good.
Yeah, edit it in.
What was his contract?
All right, next series. We all know.
And of course, Luke Glendening was good. Everyone else sucked.
Joe Pavelski is awesome.
Shake out.
How are you going to win the series when your top line left wing Jamie Benn scores 1 goal?
Also, Pavelski did not look very good.
How was Robertson?
He's
Did
good
he
early.
play?
He played
Robinson
well.
was quiet
He looked-
early.
No, he looked good in the last.
Pavelski was good early. Robinson was quiet early,
Pavelski
and
was
then they
good.
switched.
I mean, they needed
Last
Joel
night.
Kiviranta again.
They needed Rupee Hintz to show up more as well.
And their defense.
He's off and on.
What
I
happened to
haven't
Miro
watched
Heiskanen
before.
being
Sometimes
offensive?
he's good.
Heiskanen was playing actually really well. If you were watching the games, which I know.
I
Next
watched
series.
a few of them. But
He's playing well.
What
Next.
else was there?
we had
Minnesota, St. Louis. I was
Minnesota,
the
St.
only one.
Louis. I called St. Louis
I also
in 6.
Okay, well, I called it 7. Either way, we both knew St. Louis was going to win because
Yep.
I thought it was a strange play to
Craig
put Cam,
Berube,
to
good
put in
coach.
Cam Talbot
It
for
was.
an elimination game.
It was.
If they wanted him to play, they should have put him in for the game before that.
I think they should have had Flower on a shorter leash.
Sure.
I also don't think that they were very healthy. I know Foligno and Dumba were. Did you see the Dumba thing? He was playing with like a punctured lung and a bruised rib and
My response is that everybody's playing hurt. A little.
not that hurt. And Foligno has like he like refused to not.
But
play.
if your injury is so bad, but you're like, oh, I want to play through it. But if you're like, if you can't play close to your abilities, whereas you're hurting the team, then you're just a blow.
Yeah, I really don't know because I didn't watch most of the series. I'm surprised that they didn't win it. Honestly, I thought that they were gonna take over and just like.
I didn't watch much of that series.
Like I said,
Seemed like
like
St.
I
Louis
said
won.
last pod, the Blues center depth is legit. They're
Yep.
they're very
Their
good.
top 9 all scored
Down to
20
dot.
goals.
Yeah.
So
And especially because they had 2 goalies that were playing really well. Someone did not.
what
look
happened
nervous
with
somehow,
Billy
but-
Goose? Did he get pulled for Bennington?
I didn't watch a single one
I
of those
think
games.
Benner was better at the end of the year. They might have gone with him off.
Well, Husso started, I thought.
Husso
the
started,
first
Bitter
game.
finished it.
Oh.
He's the guy right now.
Did he replace him?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Bennington's the guy.
Well, we all know playoff Bennington.
Yeah.
Do I look nervous?
They're gonna get destroyed in the next round. So it's
Right.
Well, we can give some
Yeah.
predictions.
Next, what's the last series?
Colorado 2.
What's the next one?
Edmonton, LA.
Edmonton,
So sad.
Everyone's
so
sad.
sad.
Stupid
dude.
Connor McDavid.
Stupid Mike Smith was like, oh, I'm going to play really bad and then really, really good for the rest of the series.
We wanted the Kings to win.
Yeah.
So
Everyone pogging over the.
Why did they play
he had
Koskinen?
14 points. Crosby, if he didn't get injured, would have.
They should have just thrown and played Koskinen.
Call the rule book and don't take
Because
it.
Koskinen's a top 5 goalie in the league, right?
Oh,
Johnny-
Koskinen, yeah.
So why was he not playing?
Johnny Quick looked shaky.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
it.
yeah. Why did they
Didn't
not?
really
Why
watch
did they
it.
not turn to Cal?
They didn't play Cal once, I don't think. I think Quick played every game.
It's probably
Yeah, no,
Quickster's
he-
last
he-
run.
Yeah.
You know, like
one
the
of them.
Quickster's last stand.
It's
Like Custard.
We say we're not
Whose
going
line
to
is it
attack.
anyway?
Yeah, it's a lot. That series was a lot like Whose Line Is It Anyway? You don't know where it's,
It's
going to go.
boring and nobody cares.
And it's pretty lame.
It's very lame. All right.
The fact that they brought it to 7 games is impressive enough for that team, especially without Doughty. Like I thought that and that offense is so good, especially the Vander Keen, and I think he was.
I
enough
think
to bump
Edmonton is
Edmonton
going
over
to
the
get Edmonton
hump.
is going to get swamped by Calgary because they
They're
put
going to
up
get absolutely.
they put up
crushed,
put up 40 shots a game on a good defense and playing Edmonton.
Edmonton's defense
When Duncan
sucks.
Keith is on the ice, dude.
Duncan
like
Keith
second
is
place.
so bad. He is probably one of the slowest players I've ever seen.
Also,
So he did
Oilers won because of like Cody Ceci being goated.
Yes. One thing I would like to say about this series before we go to anything else.
Dustin Brown, we love you.
I've said this before,
Dustin
but
Brown is
I have not said it on the podcast. Sean Thursday is going to be a stud in this league.
You did say it on the podcast.
Did I?
You
Well, I'm going to
said,
say it again then.
you said last episode that he gives you shades of Kale McCarr.
He does walk the line. I think he walks the line.
So how about a hand for Dustin Brown's career?
How about him, Sean? There you go.
And now Sean
Clap
Brown.
sync.
Yeah, clap thing. All right, real quick, we'll go around each series. We're going to start with Matt. We'll go this way,
Okay.
and we'll just say who we think's winning and how many games. Edmonton, Calgary.
Calgary in 5.
Calgary in 5.
Calgary in 6.
Calgary in 7.
Okay, unanimous Calgary. All right, St. Louis, Colorado.
Colorado in 4.
Colorado in 5.
St. Louis in 7.
Colorado in 7.
This guy loves Bennington so much.
I have St. Louis going to the final.
Oh,
Depends if Kadri scubs against the Blues again, which I think
oh,
he might.
Justin Falk,
I
watch
think
out.
he might.
He's just like,
He is such like a he's like holding back his rage in every playoff series.
Kadri, I love
like
him.
Butch Cassidy.
That's how you got to
what?
play.
All right, Tampa Bay,
I should
Florida.
do another quote.
Florida in 7.
Florida in 6.
Tampa in 5.
Tampa in 6.
Tampa in 5.
I so want the Panthers to win that series,
Oh, then that's kind of like a Dallas.
but I know that
so
they
it's
probably can't.
fine. I
Unfortunately,
know. I don't know about
All right,
It's like Washington
New York
4.
and Colorado.
that. What?
Carolina.
I'll take Colorado in 4.
Rangers in 7. As much as I hate to say it, I still don't think the Canes are anything. Go ahead.
Canes in 6.
Canes in 4.
Hopefully Anderson comes back.
Canes in 4.
You know that was coming.
Canes in 6.
Okay.
All
There you
right.
have it.
So we've got one unanimous. Everything else is a little bit.
A little bit
Now,
fruity.
that kind of,
A little bit.
That kind of bodes,
5.
that bodes poorly
Fruity.
for Calgary, in my opinion, because we were unanimous on the Penguin. No, we
Yes.
weren't. What, who were you?
LA King.
LA, and we were
LA
unanimous
Kings.
on someone else.
Penguins.
No.
He didn't.
You
Oh, wait.
Did? Yeah.
Yes, sorry, we were unanimous on the Penguins, the Kings.
I
both
picked
lost. There was
7.
one other
Fluid.
team.
Florida. And they actually did it.
Okay, so Florida, 1 for 3.
That was
So we'll see if.
No,
Go
like
for it.
Tampa in 5 was like, oh, Washington 4.
All right,
Yeah,
we
well,
we
no,
have
I mean,
anything else?
Tampa-
We're wrapping it up.
Alright, I mean, we have the Seth Jones-Werenski.
No, I want to talk about Barry.
Oh.
Let's talk about Barry Trotz. Oh, Barry Trotz, 'cause that's the biggest
I want to
question
do the Seth
signing.
Jones, Zach Lorenz.
Same for the next pod. Or we can just go like 2 hours.
Yeah, see how long.
Anywho, so I want to talk about
I don't
Barry
think so
Trotz
that
getting
long.
fired. First of all, I don't think it's as bad as people think. I don't think it's that big a deal. Because Barry Trotz is a very good coach, and he was very good for the Islanders. He brought us to 2 conference finals. However, he plays a style of hockey that I don't think this team is suited for.
It is like watching paint dry.
It is like watching paint dry. You have Matt Barzal on your team, and he's benching him because he's not playing enough defense. I don't like that. He's not playing Wall. He's playing Wallstrom 8 minutes a night, not with Barzal. He's playing him like
Kiefer Bellows doesn't play.
Kiefer Bellows doesn't play. I would like to see Barzal, Wallstrom, and Lee on the top line with Lee as a center. I think that would be disgusting. I would like to see Lane
He
Lambert.
can take face up.
Lee takes faceoffs. Lane Lambert's the coach for the Islanders.
He was the assistant.
Oh,
He
got
got
hired
assistant
to-
Barry Trotz. But the thing I like about Lane
So
Lambert
this is his first time not coaching behind Barry.
correct.
This could
He
be
was
Barry's
behind
first time
Barry
with
in
that.
Nashville and Washington and the Islanders. He was always Barry
Barry was
originally.
He brought them to
actually
the
originally
Cups, right?
Manchester Monarchs.
No,
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 he's on
that was not.
Anyway,
That's right.
Lane Lambert is more
Like you said,
offense minded,
that.
but he's still obviously was like studying under Trotz for a while. So I think hopefully it'll be a good mix where it's sort of like the Bruins way of playing.
Hopefully
where they
Barzal
play-
takes a big step.
They play a defensive game, yet they have that top line that's just do whatever the hell you want.
Offense, yeah.
Do whatever you want. You know what I mean? I also think Lou needs to back up what he did with making some moves in the offseason. Because if he doesn't make any moves and goes with the same team,
He's the move guy too, right?
then
He does a lot of
That's Jim
tricks.
Rutherford.
No, I know, but Lou does a lot of
Rutherford,
like you never know what he's going to do. That's kind of his
you
thing.
know, I mean, he didn't submit like anything to. What was I trying to think?
It was. He didn't submit anything during the offseason until like the day
to
before,
like the day before. Yeah.
before spring training camp.
He definitely like.
But I
And
think-
also, he needs to get people other than just ex-Devils.
Right. I think he.
So
Well, I mean, I
Paul
wouldn't.
Mary,
I wouldn't
Schneider.
Taylor Howe.
Taylor,
Is that all
Zach
you bet?
Parise.
No,
No,
he
he
signed
didn't.
into a fat freaking ticket.
5 years, like 5 and
He
5.
signed into a 5-year deal and he sucked.
6 mil.
Yeah, like no, I thought it was $5 million, like 8 year or 6 year or something. I thought he was making about $5 million.
Something like that. Anyway,
He's up the
Yeah,
contract.
something like
I think we need to move Josh Bailey. I think we need to move Kyle Palmieri.
What do you think about Kyle Palmieri? And a
I think we need to move
throw
him.
Luke
What do you
Glendening?
think about
you can-
Char? He fell off this year, Palmieri. He was good last year,
He had a
Because he
very
doesn't have a
slow
beard.
start.
and then I
He
think
needs
he
his beard.
didn't do well on the Islanders when they even had him.
He
was
had a
okay in
very
the
slow
playoffs.
start.
Palmieri for Glendening.
Do you think Barry Trotz can no longer get over that Eastern Conference final hump due to lack of his chimp-like goatee?
No.
It's bad.
I
luck.
think what happened was we played the
Bring it
Lightning twice, and the Lightning were an outstanding team twice.
I mean, there's a few reasons
And
that.
I also think both times, if we had beat the Lightning, we would have won the Stanley Cup. And I can say that vindictively.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
can probably
you
say
played-
that.
you would've
with
played
that like
Dallas or
Montreal would have stomped Dallas.
I gotta
Two
say,
asterisk cups.
The Islanders
yeah.
were probably the
Okay,
Lightning's
well,
biggest
that's
challenge
still hot.
in the past like 2 years that they won the cup.
Yes.
Like they didn't play that in the Bruins, but they didn't play the like they played like wash teams in the final. Their Stanley Cup finals weren't like that. They were like
Montreal was.
they were like 5 or that was it.
So was
that
Dallas.
was 5 games.
Dallas wasn't as bad as Montreal.
Yeah, but
And they
Dallas
drew the
benefited
4th
from the
game.
bubble. Because like some teams didn't, some teams did.
So, gotta adapt, improvise.
All right. Anyways, Trotz.
Yeah. Can
Is there anything
I
else I have to say?
comment on?
Please.
I would just be worried of, I feel like similar things were said when he was when they let him walk when the Caps let him walk.
Yeah,
I'd be worried of a similar, we don't need him. Like, our players are good and we can...
Well, that's right.
The things that were said when
You need to have a
when-
good coach come in and, take the reins right
The
now.
things that were said when he walked was, "Why did we just let this guy walk? He just wants a Stanley Cup. What are we doing?"
Yeah.
And then we
That's-
just keep losing.
I think that they're in a similar situation, not as extreme because they didn't win a cup, but they've got it back-to-back Eastern Conference Finals, and now because there's one bad season, it
And
was
Vegas saw New York do it, let's do it too.
I'm surprised by that.
I think Lane Lambert is going to have the knowledge and experience to be able to coach the team. I think the problem is the team does not have the caliber of player to be playing that style of hockey. We have a very good shutdown defenseman in Adam Pelech, very good defenseman in Ryan Pollock.
Defense, you have a good top two.
But the
Scott
thing is,
Mayfield,
we can't score any goals. So we can't play a fat defensive system and hope that we can score, capitalize on every single high danger chance.
Who was your
It's not
leading
gonna
goal
happen.
scorer?
Luke Langdon.
Brock Nelson.
Brock Nelson.
I don't know what that phase is for. Brock Nelson.
No, I'm saying he's
is a
good,
dragon.
but you also,
Statue.
on every other
The
team,
cage.
you don't want Brock Nelson to be your leading goal scorer.
I feel like you would love anybody to be your leading goal scorer on any team.
You know
Well,
what
they
I'm
have a
saying.
lot of goals.
You want he's not the guy that you think of as the leading goal scorer on a team.
I suppose, but I would be very happy if Matt Martin was our leading goal scorer.
I would be super happy if Chris Wagner
Matt
was the leading goal
Martin
scorer.
40.
I wouldn't
Yeah,
blame
he
him.
goes for 60 and 35. I think it's
All I do is shoot.
he's like, I just started shooting.
They're gonna throw my helmet into my head every time I put it on.
Matt Martin right now is Mitch Marner.
True,
His buddy.
the boys. I wouldn't mind Marner coming to reunite with his buddy Marner.
They're like, how about Kyle?
No.
Hey,
They're coaching in on the aisle.
get ready for another
You can't
summer
handle
of
that
slander on
nonsense.
Mitch
Just fire
Marner.
our coach and hire a new one. You have no idea. What
Every
the coach
single
is
year
like.
they lose.
I
the first
just
round.
know that Marner's way too much of just like a little baby to be able to handle any sort of.
Well, dude, every single year they
He
lose.
would cripple our trust, and he's probably gonna.
In his defense, every single year they lose in the first round. Like, oh, it's because this dude Mitch Marner blows, dude.
He does
all
blow.
bad.
He was good this year. but he blew
This
in
year
the
they're
playoffs.
blaming Justin Hole.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
I mean, he was pretty bad.
They played him pretty hard.
Who's our worst defenseman?
Do you guys think Sheldon Keefe is gone, by the way?
I don't know.
And you try to say Kyle Dubas is
I
gone.
think
He's not
Kyle
gone
Dubas is
either.
gone.
No.
I think yes. But
No,
maybe
they're gonna be like, oh well, Wayne Simmons.
Let's bring in Blake Wheeler to toxify our.
Let's try.
Let's get Jumbo back here.
Yeah, let's try Jumbo. Let's try and get Patrick Marlowe to come back.
Marlowe totally.
Stadium Chara,
Totally would.
Yeah, Char. That's who they're gonna get.
Marlowe's only retiring because no one will sign him, dude.
Who?
Marlowe, because no
Yeah,
one signed him
yeah,
this
yeah.
year.
No,
Toronto's like, here's an 8-year
He's
contract.
too old. He's too old.
Dude, it's like Toronto signs all these dudes who like haven't won a cup, and
Sign
then
all these
they
old
lose in the first
I
round.
wonder why they haven't.
Like they had Mark Giordano and
Toronto's gonna bring in
Wayne
Pete
Simmons.
Sandel, Joe Thornton, Daniel
I think
Chara,
it's
Jeremy
Pat
Yager.
Maroon, Yarmir Yager. They're gonna go.
They're gonna talk about
Rings,
playing
though.
with sandpaper.
Yeah.
Alright. Anybody else have anything else on Trotz?
he's goaded.
Where do you guys think he's gonna go?
Or not Torts?
I'm gonna go with Winnipeg. I think he's going to Winnipeg.
Trotz?
Yeah.
Likely.
I think he's
Winnipeg
going-
or Vegas?
I think he's going Winnipeg, but with the whole locker room situation going on with Scheifele and Wheeler being bigger than the team, I could see him going to Detroit.
Trotz in Detroit could be a very big problem for the East.
I don't see Trotz going to Detroit because
Yeah,
Iserman has
start
had his guy there. He's what, the third
Jeff
longest
Blashill got
tenure.
fired.
Jeff Blashill a fool. And he's not
He
even
got
on the
fired.
team anymore. Yeah.
When?
A couple months ago, I think.
A couple of weeks ago they like before the playoffs started they announced like he's not coming back next year.
Oh, okay.
And all the fans have wanted him gone for years.
Oh, alright.
But
The Wings had good
Iserman
moments, but then they
Iserman
also
liked
let up
it.
like
Okay,
12
because
goals.
I was going to say, I
Trotz
remember
and the
Matt
Wings could be
telling me
a
he was
problem.
like the third longest tenured coach.
he had been
Yeah.
because he took over for Mike Babcock when he left for Toronto
Yeah,
back in like
that,
2014.
And then the home.
So he had been coaching. He had been coaching there for like 8 years, and they did
Okay.
not.
I find that bizarre.
They've wanted Blashill gone for like 2 or 3 years. The fans have.
This is a fool.
If you have a dumps, if you have a trash
That's
team,
it. I'm cutting it there.
if you have a trash
Dumps.
team, if you have a trash team, and you constantly are losing, but you're like, oh, this is the coach we want. Why then, when you finally start like, oh, maybe there's a light at the end of the tunnel, we might make a playoff series. Why do you then fire the coach?
Because they were like, we have gotten the talent, Now we need the coach to push the right buttons.
Okay, well,
The
all right.
locker room probably doesn't really care about
And the
this team
defense was really bad. At
I
Boston this
didn't
year.
know he got fired.
Or
I think
Detroit. They let up some awful games.
if Trotz can go to Boston, I think he should go to Boston. Not because I want to play against that. That's going to suck.
That
But
would
I
be
think
disgusting.
I think the Bruins would
Yeah,
try
I'm
it
happy with
if
that. Oh my
Bergeron
God.
stays.
I
No
don't-
chance he goes there. If
I don't know if
Bergeron
they
stays.
fire Butch Cassidy though. So.
And I don't know. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, I think they probably should.
I think they would. I think the
But I
Bruins
don't
would
think they won't.
investigate it. I think the
Um,
Bruins would investigate it. And if they don't, I think they're freaking fools.
I don't think they're gonna fire him, but I think they should. And I think they should get Torts
I think they
Dad-
should-
Tortorella?
because he is the coach they need.
Freaking
Tough love.
sucks.
You can't even say that with a straight face.
You can't say that with a straight
I think
face.
Torts is a good coach.
Torts
He's a
is
good
Torts is the
coach,
guy
but
to come
he's
in
a
and
good
like
coach.
push young guys around. Our team gets at least get
worst.
motivated. The Bruins are motivated. Like they have the good leaders.
No,
in the
if you
room.
want a dude to come in and push young guys around, that's Mike Babcock.
Joe
Alright.
Quenneville.
Oh yeah, Joel Quenneville is definitely gonna.
You do
Yeah.
no. He'll touch them around. He doesn't push them around.
Dude, he literally okay.
We're
he
actually-
touched anyone.
That's who Toronto's gonna bring in. They're gonna sign Kyle Beach. This offseason.
God.
Oh man.
I gotta edit that out. Thank
Yeah,
you.
you gotta cut that.
I'm not going to. I just say that.
They gotta edit.
It's bad.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
I don't endorse the signing.
Kyle Beach signed.
All right.
Toronto
I feel
Maple
like we
Leafs
should probably
are
cut it there, unless we want to do the Seth Jones. Zach
No,
Greinke
I
real
We
can't.
can
quick.
go for like an hour 45.
Oh, okay. All
An
right.
hour and a half.
We can do Seth Jones, Zach Greinke. If you guys want to do it real fast.
We can do it next time.
We'll do
Next
it now.
time, tune
Next
in.
time.
Yeah.
All right.
There's a teaser.
Tune in.
Now since we're in person now,
And more Bruce Cassidy quotes.
What's good?
since
What's bad?
we're finally in person, now Ben's gonna beatbox.
Yep.
All right, ready? In 3,